Well, what simps will be what's always, boss.
Yeah,
The
facts.
majority of the Black America would not work if the majority of men weren't simps.
Will certainly have.
Lynn, you got the best man in football, girl. Get that man some peace. Why is she upset?
Shador and Shiloh here at Folsom Field at home.
I scrolled through the comments of the video where she was upset with him, and all of them were like, she can't handle this life. She acting like she not replaceable. I'm gonna speak to this as someone who's been closer to that life in my career and in my personal life and through friends, and just like this has been my life experience. I love my favorite athletes as much as the next person, but let me give y'all a news flash. Just because someone's a good athlete does not make them a good partner.
Travis is our culture. Our best player happens to be our hardest worker. Travis is respected and beloved here in Boulder.
Oh, by the way, folks, he's a 4.0 GPA student as well, if you're wondering.
Y'all talking about time and place, time and place. She's engaged to be married to this man, and they're in college. Y'all don't know what the hell is going on in their household? Telling this girl to calm down, saying she could be replaced. Who are you?
A look at the Heisman hopeful sensation Travis Hunter reveals a young man that's not only extremely physically talented, but also a man that is dominating in the classroom with a 4.0 average. A young man that is comfortable in his own skin, that doesn't need to party or to go out to fulfill his masculinity. But even a man who is like this, who basically fulfills the checklist for the ideal 22-year-old man, something is still wrong. Somehow he still isn't alpha enough.
What pisses me off about what they're saying without saying it, and FD always gets annoyed when I say this, what y'all really saying, and y'all just don't got the balls and the ovaries to overtly say this, no, I could do it because of my class. All the rest of you is not going to get married. Y'all going to have to do partnership. I'm glad Kim Foster finally said it. She finally said it. Look, partnership is for us with some education and some status. All the rest of you get it how you live.
The thing is this which was pissing me off, and this is why I get on even people like what's his name, Sergeant Willie Pete with the classes. Okay, yeah. You, in other words, you got to make $100,000. You got to be this, yada 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 yada.
To be a husband.
To be a husband.
Be a partner.
You're gonna be now. You're gonna be a partner. You're not gonna have anybody, right? I said, I live on a border state, right? You know, I've been to developing countries where that have nothing but a tin shack and no windows, okay? And they're married with 3 kids, and that shows them more respect than that. You know, you making $100,000 a year, them don't show you had a tenth of that respect. That's bull.
At my age, and dare I say my level of maturity, it is simply unfair, if not immature, of me to cast judgment on Travis Hunter, his girlfriend, or their relationship or their public behavior inside of their relationship. Because I can remember a time when I was 22 years old and I was dating a woman that I thought was the most beautiful woman I had ever met. And the idea that she was going to be my woman, my girl forever, was intoxicating. As I've had a chance to mature, I can look at their relationship and I ask a different question. If he is in this relationship with this loving woman, or we can pick bones if we want to, but they seem to be in love with each other. The question is, when guys tell these young guys, you got to be more alpha, how much more alpha can you be than a Heisman front runner, a guy who is basically one of the best, if not the best, football players in the country? How can you get more alpha than that? Well, if you want to ask the question, the answer is on the other side of the field.
What's up, boss? You believe that? You hold on. Oh no. Do you believe that? Yeah. Oh no. Come on.
All right, we're gonna try to do the impossible. My brother just got my mom from the stands to the senior night. We didn't know we had to walk. They're like World War III trying to get them to walk together.
When talk of alpha men comes up, it's hard to get more alpha than Coach Primetime Deion Sanders, the electric punt returner and cornerback, in the college and the pros, the charismatic sportscaster to the deeply religious and proud father who has never taken a drink, the college coach that has now successfully turned a second program around. We had the opportunity to see on the same day 2 alphas finding that their alpha was not enough to deal with the women in their lives. Could it be just a coincidence? Or is it the fact that the idea that a man could be so alpha that he could make a woman act a certain way in the modern environment nothing more than a myth? One of the things I like to focus on in my channel is that as Black male Americans, we're reared in a way where there's a lot of rhetoric about how dangerous we are. And because of that rhetoric, most of us that are good guys, that are law-abiding, that are not trying to seek any trouble, err in the other direction. You heard the video begin with saying that the Black community needs simps. And in my definition, a simp is basically, I'm willing to keep the peace over making my point. If my point is I feel that I was wronged or someone disrespected me, I would rather bend my will, bend my view of myself over introducing some difficulty to the calm, if you will, because the calm might make things more difficult. And it is this conversation, I love the conversation with Mr. Z, because they're talking about how because we've erred too far in the other direction, we've been told you have to be alpha, you have to be alpha. And we're trying to be alpha in an environment where we can't really be alpha in family court. We can't really be alpha when the police pull us over. So we have to find a way to be more amenable. And that's kind of become a superpower. And it's creating a new set of dynamics now that more and more Black men are starting to realize that we have some cards to play.
Kevin tried to tell him, they mocked him and danced on his grave. And here we are.
And now it's Feliz de Povos. Happy Turkey Day.
Hey.
And let me tell you,
After this, we'll get that. Go ahead.
these Latina girls be on them brothers, man. They ain't gonna ever be able to get rid of them women.
No, they not.
No,
I think one interesting caveat to the Travis Hunter situation is that if he gets to the point where he branches out a little bit more, I think that his very popular Instagram, whatever you call him, girlfriend is going to start feeling some heat and competition. That might actually be what prompted all of this in the first place, is that when he did his touchdown dance that he was smiling at some cheerleaders and she didn't really like it, but the bottom of the line is she should have let the guy have his day because it was his senior day. But we'll get to that. The true point of this is that there's going to be more competition, and that's what the gentlemen are speaking about.
they will not let you go.
They ain't gonna be able to get rid of
This
them.
the first year I was at Thanksgiving and found a big ass plate of Spanish rice. And my Thanksgiving
Oh man!
and was like, damn, so they are in here.
Yeah, and they fill in all the spots that their brother needs, man. Because my son's got a Latino soon to be wife, and she's with the kids at all the family events, and she's pushing the stroller, and she's got the other, my nephew and my two nephews with her, and she don't say, she just sits there, man, and does what she's supposed to do.
Man.
And what's so really interesting about this comment is that people think that this might be like a Black people, Black man, Black woman thing, but I really think it's a cultural thing where if a young lady is reared in a certain way and she doesn't want the spotlight, then a day like Travis Hunter has, where it's basically his day to shine, is a day that she just says, you know what, it's his day. I am not going to make a scene. I'll put on a pretty face and I'll let him have the spotlight. But his girl, and she again might be Latino from what I know, she wanted some of that spotlight, or at least she didn't want to play along. And so now you have this, and probably what I think is going to happen is Deion Sanders is going to sit down with him and say, you probably should find a woman that's not going to rain in your parade on your biggest day. But hey, what do I know?
Black men and BGS, Black men make it so easy. Because we don't ask for much at all.
We don't ask, yeah.
I want to say this. Yeah. I said this to the ladies on the breakdown. I said this in a rebuttal to Chrissy. I said, hey, once Black men start going passport bros and really start going out, Black women can't make up for that number. Y'all can't make up for the Black men that marry out. There is no making up for it. Y'all already 2 million more, and then brothers are going to be marrying out and having, or even quote unquote partnership out Oh no, y'all can't make up for that. The numbers are not in your favor.
The thing is, I wasn't worried about whether they would compete. I think I was worried about whether they could compete because they've never been trained to.
That's where they are now. They don't know how to compete.
They don't know how to compete. And first, people kept telling me, well, they just don't want to. I said, no, I don't think they know how.
No.
And I'm seeing them confused. Like, what am I supposed to do to get this dude back?
They took it for granted. No, what they're doing is leaning further and further into some pseudo manifestation talk, pseudo hypergamy talks,
all that stuff is
divine feminine crap.
No, it's a continuation of what they've been doing for the last 150 years. That shit has been around for 150 years. They just changed the language. Okay, the thing is, they try to lean into what they've always done, like them shaming black men, like Joy Reid and all those kind of folks, and shaming black men. That's what they're used to. Okay.
Yep.
Because that has always worked. The thing is, now they don't understand how come it doesn't work anymore.
It's a very interesting kind of dynamic to see two men on the same day on the same football field, where you're seeing Deion Sanders kind of run away from his ex-wife, and then you're seeing a younger Travis Hunter deal with his issues. And you could say that it's a black woman issue, you could say it's a Latina woman issue, but I really think it's a cultural issue. And if you're going to play the game where, hey, you're the bad guy, you should supposed to do X, Y, and Z, black men don't X, Y, Z, and you get a generation of guys to say, nah, I'm not playing that game anymore, then what do you have? You have this new emerging dating environment where young ladies are saying, we're going to go 4B, and guys are like, have a nice trip. Because if there's another group of women somewhere else on the planet that are going to acquiesce or going to fit into your lifestyle, what difference does it make where they come from or what color they are or what language they speak?
One thing you cannot immediately adapt is attitude and spirit. It's one thing to ape or imitate a Latina, but that training of the spirit behind serving
in you, not on you.
That the genuine expectation of taking care of a man, of doing for a man, of putting a man first. You can't just put that shit on after 25, 30, 35 years. You can't do it.
No,
even if you do the acts itself, your hateful spirit, your resentment, your pornography demon is going to be brimming out of the pores while you're doing it.
I want to emphasize what Black Guru is saying. Listening to the ladies talk, both in real life, but definitely online. But I've heard this type of sentiment where they feel like if I meet the alpha enough man, that will just naturally come out of me. So that I'm glad that Black Guru said what he said as a response to that. It's this idea that if I meet the right man, I will naturally fall into my quote unquote feminine enough. Right, it's just that I keep on running into these shitty ass men, primarily black men, of course, and that's why I haven't been able to tap in to this feminine energy.
How can you get more masculine than Deion Sanders and Travis Hunter?
Kevin used to do is that's one of the things that he used to really press them on, if y'all remember, is this: do you have a cooking book? How do you speak? What's your background? Was your mom a single mother raising you, et cetera, et cetera?
Yes, tell them about you mentioned that there's a store or a restaurant, a Latina-owned store, and you were talking about the upbringing of the Describe to them, because it helps to provide the perspective.
Okay. This is a Latina that worked at a liquor store by my lotto tickets. Right, it's like down the street. Okay. And if you go in there 2 or 3 times, we actually get to know the woman. Right, she just had a baby. A little girl, and her little girl's first birthday party, right? First birthday, right? What are you gonna get her? I'm gonna get her a tea set. So you're gonna get a 1-year-old tea set. Why? She has to learn how to set a table. I said, really? Yeah. I said, okay. So I said, so you train her to be a wife? She said, not necessarily, but she has to learn these certain skills to actually be a woman. So she was already training her from a year-old how to be a wife.
Wait a minute. Let's.
Now, this is why I love Mr. Z. Subscribe to his channel because he is about to drop a dime here.
Let's slow that down. You said wife, she said woman, as if they're synonymous. Now, let's pause right there.
Yeah.
compared to in the black community, and quite frankly, all across America, because I've been hearing the white women say too, where I'm a woman regardless if whether or not I'm a wife.
Yeah.
You see the juxtaposition there, and that's why the Latinas coming for everybody's goddamn man.
The issue I take with this particular incident is that we tell our young men to be Travis Hunter. Get the good grades, be the alpha sports athlete, and still be amenable, still be affable, playful, be the guy that can do the fun TikToks and be non-threatening. And through all of that, he's trying in his own way to be quote unquote alpha. But on this day, the biggest day of his life, the woman he's with cannot just put on a face and just say, look, this is his day. I'm going to give him this 15, 20 minutes of happiness and let me not be the story of the day. But she was not culturally raised to do that. Instead, what you saw is a lot of young ladies saying, well, he's the one that maybe isn't perfect and she could find someone else. She doesn't need him to get generational wealth, whatever they're saying. And she basically can replace him. But they only give out one Heisman a year. And so when you hear this talk, what it really says is that it's not Travis Hunter or his lack of quote unquote alpha, but it's the kind of woman that his fiance was raised to be. And if she wasn't raised to be someone that was going to say, look, I am standing beside the guy that's probably the best college football player in the country. Today is the biggest day of his life. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it goes smoothly so he can enjoy his day. Then you're going to get probably the opposite, which is I'm a little bit jealous of his success and attention, and I want some of it. So I can only do it one way, and that's by making this about me. And if you can see this story for Travis Hunter, then the regular guy in the stands is saying, well, if Travis Hunter is having trouble, then what chance do I have? So the narrative about being more alpha doesn't work in this family court. It doesn't work in the courtroom. It doesn't work in front of the police. Alpha just really works when you want to sell something to another guy so that he buys it from you and think that he's just more alpha. Because in the real game of life, we're seeing Deion Sanders, alpha, having trouble with women. Travis Hunter, alpha, having trouble with women. And the commonality is not the alpha, it's something else. Something to think about for guys trying to sell younger guys on this machismo alpha thing instead of giving guys the facts so they can make the decisions that go along with their lives accordingly. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care.